What's going on, YouTube? Uberman here. Today I want to try to help you guys maximize your profitability. And the way you do that is by keeping your overhead low. So I'm going to cut straight to the point here. I tend to ramble on in some of these videos, and I'm going to work really hard not to do this today. It's Friday. I've got to go out to work tonight, so I plan on going back to bed as soon as this video is done and trying to get a little more sleep. This video might somewhat contradict a previous video that I had titled Choosing a Vehicle for Uber/Lyft. I think the majority of the other video is still going to hold true, but with time and experience I've gained a little bit of wisdom, and I want to pass that on to you because I'm on some Uber forums and I get comments on YouTube quite regularly where people are pretty much bashing me downgrading, as a lot of people call it, to a much cheaper automobile for doing Uber. And I have my reasons for it, and I'm going to share them with you, and you can agree, you can disagree, but what I can tell you is that all of the decisions I've made while doing the ride-sharing business has all worked out to my advantage. I haven't run into any pitfalls as of yet. So, I see a lot of Uber drivers obviously out on the weekends, which is the only time I work, Friday and Saturday. They're driving around in these really nice, expensive cars, and you know what? Sometimes I do too. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I take a really nice, expensive car out and I Uber in it, okay? Sometimes, just because I want to. But this should not be your primary way of doing the rideshare business, guys. Does it feel good to ride around in a brand new car? Does it feel good to maybe flaunt it to the passengers that are riding? Sure it does. And sure, passengers appreciate a nice new car. But let's keep something in mind here. Let's keep things in perspective. These are Uber X passengers. You are an Uber X driver. Okay? This is not Uber Black. They're not paying luxury prices. They're paying bottom of the barrel prices, and that's the experience they should get. I'm not saying that you should be rude or that you should not care about your appearance or your vehicle's appearance. I'm not saying you should not take good care of your vehicle. What I am saying is that with the pricing of UberX being so low, you should really be focusing on spending as little as possible on giving the customer a ride. I have cut out the bottled water. I was doing bubblegum, Werther's Original for a while. I've cut all of that out because honestly, it's not affected my rating one bit, guys. Not one bit. I do provide chargers. I've got chargers for just about every device there is on the market right now. That's a courtesy. But anything else, I just don't see the point. My rating hasn't suffered. The customers don't seem to be upset about it. And you know what? Not one person has complained about my car. From the time I went from an '07 Honda to when I drove a 2014 Avenger to when I drove an '04 Stratus to the time where I'm now driving an '04 Dodge Neon. These people don't care all that much, guys. They're just trying to get from point A to point B as cheaply and reliably as possible. Okay? So, there's mathematics behind my decisions here, okay? I may not look like a businessman. I may look like some guy off the street right now. Believe it or not, I prefer to look this way. This is me. I've got some suits and crap that I used to wear, and you know what? All it does is make me sweaty, and I don't feel comfortable, and it's just not fitting to my personality. This is me right here, okay? I'm just your average Joe off the street. Always have been, even when I was making $130,000 a year. This is always me. Jeans. I got my Ray-Bans. So I'm going to pull a guy Uber here. See, I got my Ray-Bans, guys. Yeah, see those Ray-Bans? Mm-hmm. Ray-Bans, yep. Mm-hmm. No, whatever, man. Okay, I do like my sunglasses, and I like my Nikes and my Tommies. I mean, I've got pretty good taste in clothes, but I'm still a blue jean and t-shirt kind of guy. Nautica, love my Nautica shirts, man. I love K-Swiss shoes. So why am I wearing a Nike hat? I don't know. I love Nike hats. I can't explain it. And I love my K-Swiss shoes. And then I got a Carhartt jacket. Yeah, I don't care. Listen, guys. maximize your profitability. I can't stress that enough. And you need to do that by minimizing the overhead, which is your vehicle. Okay, your vehicle is going to be your biggest overhead. So, let me explain my logic. Some of you are going to say, well, I've got a $20,000 car. It comes with a warranty. If anything breaks, it's covered. Yes and no. Let me tell you something about your new car warranty, okay? Even a used car warranty. There are stipulations that I'm going to say about 75% of people that have these warranties do not understand. I ran a car dealership. I owned a car dealership, folks. Let me tell you how this works. You go buy a Kia, brand new Kia. Comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile transferable warranty, okay? You have to pay a small fee for it, but it is transferable to the next owner. Now that sounds great, and it is great. There are stipulations. Each car has a recommended service interval for all things. That your suspension, all of your fluids, which includes things that you people never change, like transmission fluid. You change your oil, but you would never think to change your transmission fluid. Guys, and then you wonder why your transmissions crap out. Here's the thing about these warranties. Let's say you've changed your oil religiously, but let's say you've neglected your transmission fluid. Guys, if you don't follow every single stipulation in the manufacturer's warranty booklet, they give you a booklet. It's recommended service intervals. It's not really recommended. If you're doing the warranty, if you plan on ever using your warranty, it is required that you follow every single stipulation in that book. If you miss one thing, your warranty can, I'm not saying it always will, but your warranty can be denied. I've got experience in this. Working from a car dealership, I've got experience in this as well. And I've got family that recently had a complete engine go out in their car due to oil sludge. And Hyundai's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty will not cover it because she missed some of her recommended maintenance that was in the booklet. As I said, when it comes to the warranty, that maintenance is not recommended, it is required. So, you want to brag about your new car and your warranty. Keep in mind the cost associated with keeping that car maintained meticulously when it comes to all of your fluids, spark plugs, timing belts, etc., etc., etc. Maintenance on these newer cars is not cheap, guys. Not even if you can get a mechanic's garage on the side to do it for you. This is still going to cost you money. The parts are still going to come at a premium because they are newer cars. The parts are going to be more expensive. There is one of your biggest problems. Now, what's one of the biggest problems with getting a cheap $1,400 Dodge Neon? What I keep hearing is reliability. You're going to have issues with a car with 205,000 miles. Things are going to break. It's just going to happen. Well, you are probably right. I can't disagree with you entirely on that. But as a mechanic, as a man that has over 20 years in auto mechanics, preventative maintenance is the key to preventing breakdown. That's why they call it preventative maintenance, guys. If you take your $1,400 car and you go over it with a fine-tooth comb, you check everything and you make sure all maintenance that should be done has been done. That means everything. Guys, it's a $1,400 car. It's not that expensive. Parts, you can get them anywhere from junkyards, eBay, LKQ, anywhere. Even if you go to a dealership now, an older car like this, the parts are not going to come at a premium anymore. Okay? I just bought struts for my Dodge Neon. After I got it, shortly after I started getting this horrible clanking noise in the rear end, turned out to be a worn out strut mount on the passenger rear wheel. Well, you don't replace struts as one strut at a time. And I always buy complete strut assemblies. They come with new springs, mounts, everything. So I got 2 struts with a 10-year warranty, a pair to replace both back end struts. It cost me $130. Next week, I'll buy the struts to replace the front end. They're going to be $120. $120, I'll do the work myself, throw an alignment on it, you're good to go. Okay, on a $1,400 car. This car does need some maintenance. Not going to lie. Not going to hide it. I paid $1,400 for the car. By the time I am finished with it, that includes everything. And when I say everything, I mean I went through this car. I'm looking at about $2,000 to $2,100, absolute maximum $2,100 to get this car in the condition that it needs to be for doing Uber, honestly, this car should go well over a year, year and a half without any issues after I'm done with it in the next couple weeks. So, let's move on to the next part, okay? I've already discussed how a new car is going to have higher premiums for parts and repairs. An old car, you're obviously going to pay a lot less for parts and repairs, not to mention the parts are going to be more readily available from third-party vendors, okay? A lot of these newer cars, you want parts for it, you got to go to the dealer because they're just that new. They haven't been manufactured yet for third-party companies. So, one other thing. You get an older car like an 04, 05, just about anything except for maybe a higher-end luxury vehicle. Stick with your cheap, basic 4-cylinder cars, guys. Keep that gas mileage up because you don't want to waste money on gas that you don't have to. Get a 4-banger if you can, okay? You can go to a junkyard, you can go to eBay, you can get an entire engine for this Dodge Neon of mine. If I go to LKQ or a pull-apart place up in Indianapolis, an engine will cost me $180 with a 30-day warranty. $180. Transmission, $99 with a warranty. How do you beat that? Of course, I do the work myself, so I don't have to pay any labor, but still, that's my point. Okay, I'm gonna move on from that because I'm starting to rant and I don't want to keep this video going for too long. I know you guys get sidetracked, you don't have a lot of time to watch something like this. So I'm going to move on with the next and probably the biggest issue with using a newer car. Depreciation, mileage, wear and tear. Am I wrong? Can you argue with me? Let's say you've got a 2012, 2013 Chevy Malibu. Let's say your car is valued at $13,000, maybe $14,000. They're nice cars. I love them. I do. I love the new Malibus. God, I've seen a couple Impalas, new, like 2014 model Impalas running around with UberX signs in them, and I'm just flabbergasted, guys. Why? Why would you do that to such a nice, expensive car? That's a car you should be driving your family around in, not a car you should be driving drunk, puking passengers in. It's a waste of money, and no wonder you people are complaining about not making any fucking money with ride sharing. When you're paying out $300 a month for your car, and you're paying out maintenance, and you're paying gas prices for a car that gets, 22, 23 miles a gallon in the city, it becomes very difficult to make a good living off of ride sharing. Now, you tack onto that, cars that new depreciate very, very quickly. From the time you buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot, you've already lost money, okay? Because the minute you got in it and drove it off the lot, it's no longer a new vehicle. It's used. It's already depreciated. You've guaranteed lost a couple $1,000s from the time you signed the contract to the time you drove that car off of the lot. Just the way it is. Mileage. Guys, I drive 600 to 700 miles every weekend. That is just Friday and Saturday. You know what kind of mileage that racks up on a newer car? Say your car's got 20,000 miles on it. All right? 20,000 miles, very low mileage for a car. Now let's say you do like me and you drive 700 miles every weekend. So 52 weeks in a year, that means you are putting on 36,400 miles a year. Tack that on to the 20,000 you already had, and by the time you've had that car doing Uber for 1 year, and that does not count driving your family around. That is just Uber 1 year plus the current mileage. You have over 56,000 miles on your new car. Guys, the car is not worth it. It's not. By the time you're done, if you do keep that car for 2 years, you're going to have over 100,000 miles on that vehicle. A new car with over 100,000 miles on it. You have any idea what the depreciation on that's going to be? It's not worth it, guys. Let's talk about depreciation on a used car. I've got a 2004 Dodge Neon, and it doesn't have to be my Neon. I'm just using it because that is what I have right now. Take any older used car. I've got an 04 Neon with 200,000 miles on it. Okay? I've gone through it. By the time I'm done with it, I'll have a little over $2,000 in it. Car should easily run another year or so doing Uber. Now, I don't make a lot with Uber because I only work the weekends. But let's not get into too many details, but around $18,000 a year is what I make working Friday and Saturday, on average 20 to 24 hours a weekend. Okay? Does that make it worth it? I have a $2,000 investment that is going to bring me over $18,000. $2,000 investment will bring me over $18,000. Or do I go out and get a $15,000 to $20,000 car that in the first year is going to bring in around $18,000? You see, the math doesn't work. It doesn't work. A new car is not the way to go on this. I've got a $2,000 car that will last me a year. Even if I have a breakdown or two, it's not going to cost that much to repair, okay? This car is dirt cheap. Parts are dirt cheap. It makes more sense to get a used car, as cheap as you can get, that's still safe and reliable to do Uber with. You don't want to put yourself or your passengers at risk, guys. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm saying find the cheapest car you can get. 200,000 miles? Do you really think that my crappy Dodge Neon with 200,000 miles on it now is going to depreciate much more when I try to sell it next year with 250,000 miles on it? Guys, I mean, once you hit 100, 120,000 miles, depreciation really starts going out the window, especially on a really old car like this. At this point, with the mileage it has, it could have 200,000, it could have 300,000. It doesn't matter. It's still a $2,000 car. When I'm done with it, when I finally decide to get rid of it, or when Uber says it's too old, at that point, I sell it. You know what? There's no way I'll get less than 15. No way I'll get less than $1,500 for this car when I'm done with it. Because any car that looks good inside and out, runs and drives smoothly and reliably, has cold air conditioning, hot heat, and you've got every option in the car working the way it's supposed to, there's no way you're going to pull less than $1,500. And I would almost dare to say no less than $2,000. Even with 250,000 miles. So by the time I'm done with it, I will be able to get probably what I've got in it back, if not almost everything I've got invested in this car back. Even if I sell it for $1,500, and that is dirt cheap, even if I sell it for $1,500, I will have a total of $600 invested in this car that I lost. $600 in a car that brought me over $18,000 before I upgrade to my next car. That's it for the video, guys. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Quit using your brand new expensive cars for Uber and then bitching because you can't make money. That's why. You can't expect to put that kind of mileage and that kind of wear and tear on a new car that you're still shelling out monthly payments for and make great money with Uber. Maybe in some markets you can, but in the majority of the markets, you're not going to have that kind of luck. Okay? That's Uber, Lyft, Sidecar, whatever. Keep it cheap, guys. Keep it cheap. Stay safe. Uber on.